Nnamdi Kanu, in my view, threw a bet and Nigeria took it. Today, he is the most popular political prisoner and will end up either as a hero or a martyr. But to his credit, he has forced Nigeria and the world to discuss Biafra. I believe that keeping him there does not do Nigeria any good. I believe this young man should be released and released like yesterday.
All right. Thank you for joining me in this video. Now, still on the case of Nnamdi Kanu and Biafra. I took time to, research back, to go back to see if there was any time the Eastern leaders ever supported or spoke in favor of Nnamdi Kanu or spoke in favor of Biafrans or for Biafra. And you know what? The video I'm going to show you here will surprise you. So please just sit back and hear what your leaders has said before now they have changed their mouth. So please, we're going to start with the executive governor of Anambra State, Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo. We're going to start from what he said before. Now listen to this video.
We demand for the urgent release of Nnamdi Kanu, his colleagues, and all prisoners of conscience as part of the process of the search for national cohesion and building a new Nigeria. There is a legitimate debate among Nigerians on the Biafra question. And there are indeed many Igbos who, like many other Nigerians, may not agree with Nnamdi Kanu's objective or means. But it needs to be stated, however, that no citizen of Nigeria deserves the kind of treatment that is meted to Nnamdi Kanu and his colleagues. Government has declined to obey the orders of properly constituted courts in Nigeria for his release. Nnamdi Kanu is not above the law, but nor should he be put beneath it. A situation where the state refuses to obey clear and legitimate court orders for his release, and even one of them outrightly ordered for his unconditional release. There is absolutely no reason in a country with a rule of law that he should have been held an hour later than those court orders or even rulings of the court. Why is Nnamdi Kanu's case an exception? And an elder was asked about that, living in one of these northern states, about Biafra, and they asked him, what do you think about this Biafra? He said, well, nah. I just didn't know. In other words, they should keep it up, but I can no longer go now. You see all the things I have here, I cannot carry them on my head. So, there seems to be a sense of either denial, and on one part, or people who think, no, it won't be, because we can't just imagine it. And because of some discussion that, okay, if this happens, you will lose your property, you will lose that, and so on. Of course, that is untenable. I mean, I too was wrong on this, because if by any chance you have another state of Biafra, it will be the 16th state of ECOWAS.
Did you hear that? He was calling, or he called for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, and not just that, for prisoners of conscience that has been detained. He was calling for their release. Now, let's go to Imo State and hear what Hope Uzodinma have to say. Listen to this.
If anybody tells you that IPOB is the one killing people in Olu, it is not correct. Wicked politicians are sponsoring the killings in Olu. Last week in Oweruru, the APC ward chairman was killed in his house. The APC secretary was killed in his house. APC woman leader was killed in his house. I have cross-checked. Since the inception of this banditry, not one PDP man has died. Not one PDP man, his house has been attacked or burnt. So it is very clear to me that these people are after APC. I'm sorry for those who will come in a very naked daylight. I want to be after government. Only a weak government can allow that. It is my hope that the people who are doing this will use the period of Easter and they repent. If they don't repent, government will come all out. I have decided to say this because the people behind this are also carrying the blackmail. They are the one that will kill. They are the one that will come out to blame government. They think we don't know what they are doing. I think their cup is now full. And killing of innocent people must stop in Imo State.
And resolved to interface with the federal government to secure the release of Nnamdi Kanu and the meeting adjourned.
Did you hear that? IPOB don't kill. Oh yes. Now, to shorten this video, let us stick only to these two governors. Fast forward to today. What is Soludo saying about the case of Nnamdi Kanu? Watch this. Let me show you this video.
Release of Nnamdi Kanu for me is different from the issue of security. I separate the two. I don't link the two. Nnamdi Kanu for me is for us to have this conversation about the long-term future of Igbos, and that's a different conversation.
So, Mr. Governor, I take it then that you also make a distinction between the course that Nnamdi Kanu was pursuing and the one that Simon Ekpa is pursuing.
I don't know what Simon Ekpa is pursuing. I have no idea what it is about, because I have no idea if he's pursuing any cause other than to swindle people for money. And, you know, it's become a business, because people all over the world contribute money for them, and they become super rich. So I don't know what he's pursuing.
Did you hear that? For him, the release of Nnamdi Kanu does not have anything to do with insecurity in the southeast. That whether Nnamdi Kanu is released or not, that what is happening will be happening unless something is done. This is the person who has called for the urgent release of Nnamdi Kanu. Today, whether they release him or not, it doesn't concern him. Now, my question is, why? Why did these people suddenly change mouth from what they were saying? You were calling for somebody's release, and suddenly you change mouth. You begin to say whether they release him or not, you don't care. My question is, why? Why? Oh, should I say they have been promised vice president after their tenure as governor? Or maybe they have been promised one minister or one senator or the other after their tenure. That is why they have to play to the, you know, to the taste of their masters. They want to please their masters. You see, this will show you the true characters of Nigerian politicians. Oh yes, they will tell you this. Meanwhile, they are actually standing for this. Ha! And then after all this, we have still not learned our lesson. We are still hoping and trusting in people like this. People will tell you A, meanwhile, what they are acting or what they are doing is B. Anyway, please, I want you now to take a little time again and hear what Charles Chukwuma Soludo said about Nnamdi Kanu. Please, I beg you. I beg you. Why I'm bringing these videos to you is for you to know what has happened and what is happening, so that when we talk on certain things, you will understand. So please, take a little time and hear what he has said before about Nnamdi Kanu. And then after hearing it, you do well to drop your comment on the comment section. My question again is, why? Why will these governors or these leaders in the southeast that has initially called for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, why is it that suddenly they change mouth? They no longer care. They no longer talk about his release. Why? Drop your comment on the comment section. But for now, let me still allow you to watch this video and hear what Soludo said.
Nnamdi Kanu, in my view, threw a bet and Nigeria took it. Today, he is the most popular political prisoner and will end up either as a hero or a martyr. But to his credit, he has forced Nigeria and the world to discuss Biafra. I believe that keeping him there does not do Nigeria any good. I believe this young man should be released, and released like yesterday. I will not be surprised if he becomes a subject of the next political campaigns. Just like we dealt with Awolowo, who was convicted and imprisoned of treason, or Gowon, charged with treason, or even Ojukwu himself was forgiven, and so on and so forth. I don't want to make any predictions, but I believe we need to solve this. Because according to Ofodile, this book, quote, he said, the lesson to be learned, if anyone cares to listen, is that the detention of Nnamdi Kanu, no matter for how long, will not stop the agitation of Biafra, end of quote. He further argues that the detention of Wazirike between 2005 to 2007 helped to radicalize his followers. The same thing happened when the leader of Boko Haram was killed. His followers became more radicalized. Detention of Nnamdi Kanu, I never heard of him before this time, to be quite honest. Never heard of him. I didn't even know about the IPOP, whatever thing. Until this thing, and you now realize globally it's become an issue and it's become mainstream. Now, and again, quote, he says, this book argues that the idea of a customary government under the Supreme Council of Elders in accordance with customary law enjoys the support among a section of the Igbo, but it is the Biafra or death philosophy of Nnamdi Kanu that found resonance across the length and breadth of the Igbo nation. Therefore, there cannot be a resolution of the Biafran dilemma without a wholesome engagement of the Nnamdi Kanu /Uche Mefo faction of IPOB. End of quote. That's what this was. So, if I were President Buhari, quite honestly, I would be very suspicious of anyone who advises me to ignore the Biafran issue. I'll be very suspicious. Anybody who says that is either ignorant or being mischievous, or quite patently doesn't mean well for the government itself. It probably wants the same government to repeat the mistakes of the past so that it could lead it down the train. We must start learning in this country. So let's talk Biafra. Where are the Igbo elite and the intelligentsia in all of this? Especially those in Nigeria. It seems, as this book points out, this is being driven mostly by the Igbo intelligentsia in diaspora, the new resurgence. The new ones within, there seems to be a division, 3 classes you can identify. The ones within the mainland, and I'm shocked, and you discuss, they have a different point of view. Those in diaspora within Nigeria, so to speak, who are in Abuja and Lagos and so on and so forth, Kano, Kaduna, and so on. And an elder was asked about that, living in one of these northern states, about Biafra. And they asked him, what do you think about this Biafra? He said, well, nah, I just didn't know. In other words, they should keep it up, but you know I can no longer go now. You see all the things I have here, I cannot carry them on my head. So, there seems to be a sense of either denial, and on one part, or people who think, no, it won't be, because we can't just imagine it. And because of some discussion that, okay, if this happens, you will lose your property, you will lose that, and so on. Of course, that is untenable. I mean, I too was wrong on this, because if by any chance you have another state of Biafra, it will be the 16th state of ECOWAS. And that means you have free movement of goods and persons. But the fundamental question The fundamental issue is that this debate is not happening. This whole thing is being driven almost in a haphazard manner. Last week, they called for, was that last week? Yeah, last week. They called for a sit at home. And even without anybody getting out to more enforce and so on, I learned virtually Anambra and many other cities were completely shut down. It just tells you there is something going on. But again, where is the elite in this? What is missing is structured debate and the apparent elite aloofness or complicity or hypocrisy. Elite in denial. For the politicians who think you can just, let's use them temporarily, let's use them. Just go on while we can then use that to negotiate for something here. I can tell you, you will create a monster that will consume you. When that inferno comes, both us, everybody else, and the kind of thing that happened in Biafra where dissent, any dissent was considered a saboteur. Okay? You might get to a point where you will be telling them, just go on while we can negotiate here, get something for ourselves in Abuja. I can tell you these guys are no fools. At some point, they will look at you too and know that you're actually part of the problem. And so on and so forth. So, I say, let the debate must begin. The late Dr. Pius Okibo, in this book as well, presented what the memo by late Dr. Pius Okibo presented to the Biafran government on the economic viability of Biafra. Nobody is talking about what the currency will look like. How will you fare with international trade? What kind of constitution are you talking about? And Affordile forcefully argues here that the Ahira Declaration of 1969 came too late. They had intelligentsia pushing for Biafra, but there was no organized structure. That if they had done what they did towards the end of the war at the beginning, Biafra would not have ended the way that it did. But what is shocking is people talk about this in their bedrooms and in their parlors. And then you come out and everybody is just, and so on. I'm sure it will not take long. So what I'm calling is that we must, the elite, the intelligentsia, get out of the closet and let us, now that the issue, the president in New York made a point. He said there will be no referendum in Biafra. Now, and I said, my reaction to it was, oh my God. So this matter has actually gotten to the point where we are now,
it or not, we are the biggest investors outside our region. How many of the regions have massive investment in other regions? That means the Igbo man is one that even believes in the sustainability of the Nigerian project. That is why he can invest in a zone or a land where he does not come from. So, but just ordinarily sit down and let's find a solution. Because the root cause is also rooted to these issues of exclusion. Injustice that have spanned for decades. And the more you are alienated, the more you tell the ones that are growing that you are not wanted. And that's why you see the result to all these crises that have brought instability. Now, instead of finding a way to calm nerves and restore it, you go about showing them, I don't care about you. So I'm using this as I'm commending the president for freeing discontinuing the treason charges against those kids. We're also begging him that exercise the same constitutional provision under section 174 thereabout, and let the Attorney General issue a nullity and discontinue the trial of and especially at the time that the judicial system has made conclusive pronouncement at different times, federal high court, different court, that this trial has no legal basis. At least in these cases there have been final pronouncement, but you're still fighting and must prove that he's guilty. That means hate. That means you hate the tribe. Because there's judgments of court that have said, release him. The invasion of his house was an attempt to assassinate and kill him. Everybody saw the day the people invaded. There was no cause for that. And the people were beheaded and killed and massacred in tens. And the man ran for his life. And he did not run away or jump there. He invaded somebody's house. Just like the time those murderers from my area, in the name of politics, invaded to attempt to behead me and killed some of my family members. Didn't we flee? At the end of the day, when we were able to survive, are we going to, even if I was on bail, I should keep the head so that they can cut it off like ancient Greece. So the man had to run to survive. And then the extraordinary rendition is unknown to our law. It was a clear case of kidnap and abduction, which the court have also declared as illegal. So I've been issued there's even no trial. So why is Nnamdi still in detention? Because he's an Igbo man. That's why you have the same, another traditional ruler that is kept in Lagos prison, that the Lagos State government is trying. Because he said, if you don't stop attacking our businesses, if you don't stop killing our people, we are going to bring help to defend our place. Instead of you dealing with the hate that your people are projecting there in Lagos, that is leading to killing of our people, burning of our businesses, because we are exercising our constitutional right to either vote or choose leaders. You went after the traditional ruler who spoke in defense of their people, because they're an Igbo person.
Forming the president, that Nnamdi Kanu is not only going to help play an integral role in bringing peace, not only in the southeast, but in the country. We have made it very emphatic that Nnamdi Kanu is only speaking the voice of his people. Nnamdi Kanu has not committed any crime. Nnamdi Kanu is not a criminal. Nnamdi Kanu speaks the minds of the people of Igbo land, because the people of the southeast will always tell you that we feel marginalized. And Nnamdi Kanu happens to be a voice. Nnamdi Kanu's release will entirely diminish the issue of insecurity. And we have said it times without number. We have met with the NSA led by Alhaji Rabadu. We have pleaded with him. We have met with the Security and Intelligence Committee headed by my good friend from Bonu, my colleague. We have discussed. Even our northern brothers are also agitating that Nnamdi Kanu should be released. Now, we must understand that it's one thing to be loud about these things. It's also another thing to be strategic with it, to be diplomatic with it. The person that arrested Nnamdi Kanu was General Buhari. Today, Nnamdi Kanu is not President Tinubu's enemy. Holding him will only continue to fuel and foment the indignation that the Igbos have against the system. Therefore, we are appealing. He's our brother. He's our son. Mr. President, he's your son. Release him for us. If you release him, it will do us a lot of good. It will do you a lot of good. Because Igbos will say that His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has done something for the Igbos, something that we have clamored for by releasing Nnamdi Kanu, and it could translate to votes. Thank you very much.
All right. So after seeing all this, you still believe your governors, right? You still believe your leaders, right? Well, as I always say, do not forget to pray for our leaders. Do not forget to pray for Nnamdi Kanu. Do not forget to pray for the state of Biafra. All right? Thank you very much. Do well to drop your comment on the comment section what you think. And if this is your first time, you can do well to subscribe. Thank you very much, and may God continue to bless you.